Tak, Sam, Milan, thanks for your time this afternoon. The COVID period for us as an organisation, along with many other organisations, threw up some very interesting challenges earlier this year, mobilising very small businesses to a work from home environment, mobilising very large businesses to a work from home environment. There was many considerations that we, along with many of our customers and so many other industries and organisations out in the community experienced. The systems that were tested, the platforms that people perhaps had never truly experienced or didn't have in place, the security that needed to be in place to ensure a smooth transition, just business continuity, how we put certain processes in place to ensure we could maintain our own workplace, but also that of our customers. So technology is steeped in all of this, and it was for us quite an experience, taking a large workforce spread in different parts of the country to a work from home environment. As leaders in the business, and Sam, I'd like to start to ask you this question. What were your thoughts at the time, and how did we as an organisation perform through that period?
Dave, I think at the time it was probably pretty much panic like everybody else. It wasn't a normal scenario. I mean, the world went crazy over a period of time, and you know, everybody had to adapt to that. So, you know, if we had gone through the process of trying to get 1,600 people working from home in our normal environment, it would have taken us months. But we managed to do it in a period of days. When you don't have options and it's only necessity, you've got to be agile. And that's one of the things that we learned really quickly. It was that agility to be able to move things quickly. Also, although we, you know, every organization has rules and processes, and we also had to be conscious that some of those rules and processes did have to bend a little bit to get things done. We did have to take some chances. Not everybody had the right equipment at home, so we did set up registers for people to borrow equipment. But we also knew that, you know, people had taken equipment, you know, for all the right reasons, and we basically just worked it on the principle that we'd sort it out later, and we did, and everything worked out well. But it was taking on that approach that we understood that, you know, it wasn't just a case of working from home. There was, you know, people who were worried like the rest of the world was. There was all the uncertainty of what was going to happen. You know, is my family right? Can I visit them? Can I go out? Can I do this? You know, where's my next roll of toilet paper? You know, some crazy things that we would have never imagined. And that was all going on in the background. So we had to look at it and be very, very realistic that, you know, if we tried to do everything with process, everything with the highest security, everything being 100%, it would have done two things. It probably would have stressed our colleagues out to the max, and it probably would have failed. So we looked at it pragmatically. We gave everybody the time that they needed. We took everybody, you know, out of the office and into their home environment. And we also learned very quickly that you are at home, and there's that acceptance of moving out of the office and being at home. That whole uncomfortable feeling that you would have had, you know, prior to this, where somebody passes by you, a dog's barking and everyone's panicking and you're turning videos off, to all of a sudden there's videos on, there's washing in the background, my Monopoly boards are sitting behind me still in the bookshelf, but you're comfortable with it because you are at home and you are doing what you need to do. And to be very honest, I think we've been more productive now than we ever have been.
It's interesting because as an organisation, we went through quite a significant challenge in finding that fine balance between people's comfort in a virtual world, knowing that they weren't with their colleagues face to face. But our customers were going through massive disruption at this time as well. And so not only were we transitioning, but we were also helping our customers transition to very quickly an environment that many of them had not experienced at that scale ever before. Milan, if I could ask you, just from your perspective, your insights into this, but particularly some of perhaps any real examples that you can give us that we shared through that period with our customers.
Sure, Dave. Look, I won't specifically mention any customers' names, but I think we had a range of different challenges that our customers face. So obviously we had our own disruption with work and how we need to change our systems, work more from home. But our customers probably experienced that times 10. And in particular, we've got, customer environments where they're typically all getting their services at work. All of our systems connect into their offices. They connect through their Wi-Fi, through their networks. So all of that went out the window. So we've had probably in excess of 100,000 people all of a sudden work from home. And now our support guys wouldn't typically go, oh, can you check to make sure your cable's in the back of the wall? Well, now it's a bit different. Now you've got to go, oh, how about your printer now? It's a bit different. Can you take out your printer cartridge? All of that never existed before. So we had to do what was called a bit of a learn really, really quick and really fast. So a lot of our staff had to adapt to try and support the customer's disruption. So there was that element about just keeping the lights going, keeping all the operations going. And we're lucky enough to have a lot of smart people in the company who have got very creative solutions around how to connect all these different systems and still provide that ongoing service. Because at the end of the day, a lot of our customers, be it private or public, government departments, they were still running. They were still running at the same time, same operations, nothing faltered. So that was a real critical part of, I guess, us supporting our customer. And the other part of the customer support that we really had to focus on was they needed to change and rapidly ramp up a number of different things that normally would have taken a long time to implement or never have been implemented. So an example might be, I won't mention any names, but there was a contact centre where they needed to set up a hotline to service the public. And that was set up in a matter of days. So it's that kind of scenario where the disruption that they've had is not only with their BAU work, but they've had to do additional work just to deal with the whole COVID-19 response in itself. So I think everyone's experienced a tremendous increase in workload. And I think what was really, really encouraging for me was the scores, and we're talking close to 100 emails and correspondence from various customers thanking us for the flexibility, but they're also very patient as well with us. So look, it's a bit of a cliche, but we were in it together. So, yes. And I think that's one thing I really learned. And I've also learned probably as a result of that kind of experience, we've been far more closer with our customers than we had before. And in times of crisis, you tend to work a little bit more with your family, a bit more with your friends. And I felt that that's probably increased. And I even think our productivity and efficiency has possibly increased as a result as well, which is, I think, is a benefit for all of us.
Yeah. So both we as an organisation, as Sam mentioned, and you've mentioned, Milan, the kind of transformation that we've been going through with customers and helping them on that journey. Tak, if I could ask you, perhaps just with regards to the next step here, this transformation that we've been on as an organisation and potentially what the future might look like even just for other organisations. There is a lot of the unknown, but your thoughts around where this journey that we've just come out of the last number of months, where that might lead us to?
Yeah, actually, I think it's deep. Actually, what I felt from my experience I did for last couple of months is that, more communication is required. Even talking about myself, actually, my family is supposed to come over here in Melbourne to join my life in last March, but since the border is closed, they had to postpone their entry to the countries. So even before COVID-19 outbreak, I had a conversation with the customer, verbally once a week. But after that, COVID-19 circumstance, I've been making a phone call or conversation maybe twice or three times a week. So in that case, maybe a bondings is more important for everyone. I think that's I really recognize through this kind of a chaotic situation. And also other things more important is decision making. How quickly we can make a decision making, picking out some information. Actually, before COVID-19 circumstance, we could not recognize which information is most important. Yeah, from the data stack and so on. But now we have been paying much attention to the which one is their best, which one is to be picked as a top priority. So in that case, as kind of a digitalization or DX, that's going to be more important. And also the, but sometimes a kind of a balance between, communication in the digital and also physical communication, face-to-face, going to be quite important to make a, good balance in terms of hybrid stuff. Yeah, and also for customer stuff, I think customer is now moving towards more like cloud-based solution, and also would like to spend more time for the implementation. So that's my impression, which I experienced for last couple of months. Yeah, that's gonna be a future, I think.
Yeah, I think this continued journey along digital and connection or connectivity, how we connect through technology, but also how we have the human connection, that communication you were talking about, are all key elements about our continued journey as from an NEC perspective, but certainly for our customers as well. I guess to wrap this very short discussion up, gents, I wouldn't mind understanding what's one key learning that you've had during this period. It has been the first for all of us. Sam, if I could start with you, what's a key learning that's come out of it for you?
Dave, I think one of the greatest key learning that's come out for me is the challenge that, technology, although technology works and you can maintain productivity working from home, I think the biggest challenge that we face today and are still looking for how you actually find the balance in the future is maintaining that cultural element of an organization. It's just amazing the difference that it makes when you are in the office and you can huddle in a group and sort out a problem quickly, as opposed to everything needs to be planned and there's got to be a meeting because diaries are all full and you can't see if somebody's got 5 minutes or not. That whole heartbeat of the organisation that makes us who we are and makes every organisation who they are through their people is really difficult to manage over technology. You don't get that ability to have a quick cup of coffee, and it's amazing. One of the things I realised is that a quick cup of coffee when you were back in the office felt like 15 minutes of breathe time and relax time. But it wasn't. It was productive, and the amount of elements and the amount of emails that were saved through that 15 minutes of coffee was absolutely amazing. So it's maintaining that productivity, but also the challenge is how do you build that culture? How do you retain that culture, and how do you grow in that culture amongst your colleagues, but also with your customers? As they're no longer coming into the office, and you're not introducing yourself as they walk through the corridor at the moment. So that's another gap for me and another learning that I think I wouldn't have expected, and that we really need to work through quickly.
Yeah, I think other than the fact that you're drinking a lot less coffee now, Sam, which is probably good for you, the fact that there's particularly for someone who enjoys the people connection and can communicate more effectively when you are in a group or one-to-one, not through a laptop screen, that's certainly a gap, and it may be for a period of time going forward. So yeah, that balance of how we maintain culture. Milan, for yourself, what's a key learning that's come out from you, either through the lens that you spoke of before, which is the customer lens, or from your own perspective as a senior person within the company?
Sure. Look, there's a lot of learnings, but one of the key ones I'd probably draw attention to is how quickly we were able to achieve things when we needed to. And I've seen some customer environments from scratch, greenfield, set up so quickly at pace that normally would take such a long time. And as a simple example, even just within our own organisation, we rolled out Microsoft Teams in a matter of days to the whole organisation everywhere. But if you were to ask me, 6 months ago, how long would it take to do? And I said, okay, it might be a few weeks in planning, a few weeks in preparation, then a few months in rollout. So we're talking, a 2-month exercise in 2 days. Was it perfect? No. Was it good? Absolutely. It absolutely hit everything, Mark, and we got through it really quickly, and we were productive within a couple of days, which is fantastic. So that's one key learning that I think I was surprised at, how easily we were able to achieve everything in such short.
Yeah, great, excellent. And Takuya, if I could perhaps just conclude with you, just perhaps for you, other than the fact that your family who were supposed to join you aren't with you at present, which is tough. And you know, you're probably a real example of what so many families with isolation are going through. So there's that side which is really difficult. From your own role at an EC, what's a key learning that the last 4 months has brought out for you?
Yeah, actually, digitalization, for example, leveraging a Zoom and also kind of communication digital tool gonna be really helpful. Yeah, even for me to be connected with our family. But yeah, that was really helpful. But that's not a 100%. Yeah, satisfying myself. So what I felt even through last couple of months experience is a kind of balance between a physical and a digital, yeah, or virtual. Gonna be quite important. And also a great thing I found out through our last couple of months that we have a technology and a solution to make it possible, and also even for shopping or whatever required in the future to make it contactless and so on, and as people are gonna be connected. Yeah, that was really also a good chance to recognize myself that about our capability of our company NEC and also the Australian people. Yeah, that was really good. Yeah, that's my experience and feeling. Yeah.
Fantastic, thank you. Look, I think this was a short opportunity to just capture just our own experiences through these last 4 months. And we will continue to, without question, have many learnings going forward as we become connected in different ways, not only internally, but we help our customers sort of transform and continue that journey of transformation in the months and possibly the coming quarters to come as we get into 2021. So whilst so much of it is unknown, I think through some of your experiences, Tak, Sam and Milan today, we've been able to capture both our own experiences as an organisation and some of those of our customers. So thanks very much for just giving up a little bit of your time.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
Thanks.